Hey, what's up YouTube? Houston here. For those of you just finding my YouTube channel, welcome. Please remember to hit that subscribe button and that bell. And for those of you that's been following me and supporting me, salute. And for my favorite patrons, always, double salute. Now, today's video, we're actually going to be talking about Wells Fargo personal loans. And the reason that I'm talking about Wells Fargo personal loan, because it's one of the major banks, and yeah, we know that Wells Fargo has some serious issues going on. But one thing that Wells Fargo has over the other major banks is that they use FICO 9, okay? And because they use FICO 9, more people with challenging credit on the FICO 8 side, they tend to be able to get approved for the FICO 9 with Wells Fargo when it comes to dealing with personal loans. That being said, some of the data points when it's talking about Wells Fargo and their personal loans, one, they pull from Experian FICO 9. Their loans go from $3,000 up to $100,000. Now, let me say this. Some people do the most ridiculous thing. They would try to apply for $100,000, the maximum amount with Wells Fargo, and get denied. And then they're surprised they get denied. Well, here's the thing about it. They are putting down, well, only make $50,000, $55,000. Okay, if you only make $55,000 and your DTI, debt to income ratio, is at 50%, why would you think that they're going to give you a $100,000 loan? You know, and, you know, I'm not trying to downplay anybody or beat up on anybody, but I'm just saying, come on, we have to be more logical or be more reasonable than that when we're going after these loans with banks, because we're mainly trying to build a relationship so we can get more money out of them, right? And in order for to do that, you have to make sure that you have the right data points in order to get started. So depending on your credit score and stuff like that, especially if you have challenging credit, you know, and you have a lot of high debt to income ratio, then I would suggest to be more safe, I would play between the $3,000 to $15,000, maybe $25,000. Now, if it was Navy Federal, because credit unions, they have more data points, then I would probably do a credit union. But with a major banks, I would probably be more conservative. Okay. Now I have some other lenders that I'm gonna show you that would probably be able to get larger limits and stuff. But when you have challenging credit, you have to be more conservative about what you're trying to do. All right. That being said, here's one of the key things that I like about Wells Fargo, and most people probably don't even take advantage of it. Like when they do a pull, okay, when they do a hard pull on your credit report, that hard pull stays for 30 days. So with that same hard pull they just pulled on your FICO 9, you can not only apply for a personal loan, but why not apply for a credit card as well? So that way, if you may get $15,000 on a personal loan, and then they may give you another $10,000 credit card, okay? So that's the reason I'm telling you guys, think about this logically in terms of when you're trying to get funding out of these financial institutions. See how they data points here. See how they actually play, especially if you don't have a long-term relationship with them. Now, in reference to speaking of long-term relationships, if you have a relationship with Wells Fargo, they may do a soft pull. Okay, they may do a soft pull. If you have other accounts with them, then they may do a soft pull for the personal loan. All right. One of the bigger things that I see if a person gets denied a personal loan with Wells Fargo, it's probably because of their debt to income ratio. Most banks, the maximum amount of debt to income ratio is about 50–55%. Okay, so if you know you're over that 50–55% debt to income ratio, then I would probably hold off because I'm going to show you some ways to actually leverage that. So if you still want to do business with Wells Fargo, I would probably wait till I get my debt down. But I'm going to show you how to take advantage of this FICO 9. And the reason that I like the FICO 9 anyway is because it's low-hanging fruit. It's easier to work with. So finding lending institutions that are willing to work with a FICO 9 is easier to work with. So that's the reason you want to take advantage of it. Now, one of the good things about Wells Fargo personal loan is in reference to no origination fees, no prepayment penalties. They offer a wide variety of loans and repayment terms. So you may get a $10,000 loan and you may only need it for maybe 9 months. Or you may get a $5,000 loan and you may need it for 5 years, you know, but they have that flexibility. A lot of people run over there because their interest rate, they tease an interest rate of like 5 point something, right? And which is lower than credit unions, which is cool, but you definitely have to be top tier in order to get that interest rate, all right? So just keep that in mind. One of the good things about it, going for lower limits, then you don't have to worry about documentation, income proof, 1099s and things of that nature when going for a personal loan, okay? And so their average credit score is a 660, all right? Does that mean that you have to have a 660 on the FICO 9 to get approved with them? No, but again, like I said, it's all about the data points. How long you've been with them, what type of accounts you have with them. So that also plays into the mix when you're trying to get approved for a personal loan with Wells Fargo. Now, that being said, like I said, since Wells Fargo is a low-hanging fruit and you trying to get the best interest rate and the maximum amount of money, one of the things that you can do is build up your FICO 9. So you can add rent payments on your credit. So in reference to you guys are paying cash for rent or money orders for rent, then I would tell you to sign up with Plastic and take your security card, a prepaid card, or debit card, sign up with Plastic, and send out your rent payment that way. That way you can actually start getting that as a trade line reported on your personal credit, okay? That's important, especially if you're trying to get qualified for a home loan. One other thing I would tell you about when you're trying to get like a personal loan through Wells Fargo and things of that nature, keep in mind if you're stating that you're doing 6 figures, you're making 6 figures, and you don't have a car loan on there, you don't have a mortgage on there, you're not paying rent, then that also throws a red flag to them to figure out, okay, you're making 6 figures, but you don't have none of these other things. They look at that type of stuff as well. So just keep that in mind, all right? Now, in reference to the Wells Fargo personal loan, if you get denied, I would definitely tell you, I would probably call the, I would probably try to get a hold of the reconsideration line to see what it is that they can do. Now, again, if they're still not willing to work with you, I would tell you definitely build up your FICO 9 score, okay? With the rent payments, you have your utilities that you can add on your FICO 9. You have your subscriptions you can add, car insurance, gym membership. So you can either go with Grow Credit or there's another company out there called Perch that you want to work with. If you're using your debit card a lot, you want a trade line, you can do the extra debit credit card app, and it reports to Experian and Equifax, okay? Authorized users. Authorized users on the FICO 9 definitely is one of those that you can take advantage of to help boost up your FICO 9 score. So doing 3 or 4 of the things that I'm suggesting, you should get, I would say seriously, between 50 to almost 100 point boost in your credit score just by doing those basic things, all right? That being said, if you don't get approved for Wells Fargo and you still need a personal loan, then you may want to check out companies like credit loans, right? And so they don't really focus on the credit score. They focus more on the job, how long you've been on the job, how long you've been at your address. So they look at different data points, okay? Now their loans only go from $250 up to $40,000. And you have to have an active bank account. Unfortunate thing is that with these type of loans, you have to expect your interest rates is going to be in the double digits, okay? So that's all transparency. But hey, if you need the money and you know that you're going to be able to pay it back right away, it's definitely an option for you. Now, unfortunately, they don't operate in New York as well as Connecticut. But at the same time, if you have bad credit, hey, they'll loan you up to $5,000. They said that they have a 90% chance of approval. Another lender, so if you are knowing that you over that 50% or 55% DTI for getting a personal loan through Wells Fargo, you may want to look at Avant personal loans because they do a soft pull. And their minimum score is a 580. Their DTI is 70%. The average is about 30%. But again, 70% versus you taking a hard pull on your personal credit that's not going to guarantee, and this is a soft pull. I think I'll probably take my chances with something like this or with credit loans and stuff. Now, their loans go from $2,000 to $35,000, but here's the thing about it. If you're able to get a loan like this and pay down some of your credit card debt, then I probably would go back to Wells Fargo and try to get a personal loan to where I would pay off the high interest rate loan that these companies offer, okay? Average credit score with them is a 644. Wells Fargo average credit score is a 660. And your minimum income you have to have is about $20,000, okay? So if you're making at least $1,200 a month, average is about $4,000 a month, but hey, that doesn't mean you have to be making $4,000 a month. And I keep telling you guys, whenever you're applying for personal loans, credit cards, and lines of credit, make sure that you, if you're married, include your spouse's income. Make sure that if you're disabled but you're renting out a room, hence, that you include that rental income, that the room you're renting out. If you're retired, you have money from a 401k or, excuse me, money from a 401k or something like that. Don't forget to include that on your application. That's income, people. So don't forget to add those things. So that way, the higher your income, it pushes down your debt to income ratio, and then you can qualify for more funding. All right. Now you have Upstart. I like Upstart again. They are soft pull TransUnion FICO 9. I like them really because they're not focusing on mainly the credit score. Their thing is how long you've been on your job. How long you've been at your residence. And this is a company, I've seen it many of times where people come fresh out of a bankruptcy and they would give them a loan. And I'm talking about $10,000 plus. So, or some of them are in like a bankruptcy chapter 11 and they would still give them a loan. So that's what I'm talking about. Like with some of these lenders, like with the banks, they're not going to touch you if you're in a bankruptcy. Most banks like Wells Fargo, Bank of America, Chase, if you're in a bankruptcy, most of the time they want to see that bankruptcy seasoned. Sometimes they'll work with you if it's 2 years old, but the maximum amount of time they'll work with you is when the bankruptcy is about 4 years old. It used to be 3, but they changed on that. Now, the good thing about Upstart, their minimum gross income is about $12,000 annually. So that's about $1,000 a month, okay? You do have to have an active email, phone, and bank account. But again, like I said, they are operating in 50 states. So especially like New York, that always has a challenging time. Excuse me, guys. that has a challenging time trying to find lenders and stuff, this may be an answer to helping you out, right? So that's Upstart. Then you have Prosper. Now, Prosper is a platform, Southpool TransUnion. Their loans go from $2,000 up to $40,000. But the thing about it, like the banks, their DTI is 50%. Okay, so granted, they may be able to help you. The average credit score is a 640. Still is lower than Wells Fargo for a personal loan, but your DTI is 50%. So I would probably look at those other two that the DTI is at least 70% or higher. So that way you know that, okay, I have a better chance with these. Now, granted, like I said, Prosper does a soft pull, so you don't have to worry about the hard inquiry. Okay? Now, some of the other things, bankruptcy recently filed in the last 12 months is what you have to deal with a Prosper. Fewer than 5 inquiries in the last 6 months, and at least 3 trade lines on the credit file, okay? Now, in reference to understanding about your FICO score, especially your FICO 8 and FICO 9, what's the biggest difference? Then click the link in the description and get your real FICO score. And if you need to schedule one-on-one consultation, schedule a 30-minute consultation, and I'll go over with you, and we can discuss some of the financial institutions that you may be able to take advantage of with your FICO 9 scoring, okay? Now, you have PenFed. PenFed also, as well as Navy Federal. They're FICO 9, low-hanging fruit. All right. Now, in reference to PenFed, people have said, well, I went to PenFed and they showed me love. Yes, they will. But again, one of the bigger challenges for most people is they may have a high debt of 55%, but it's no docs, you know, so stated income. You can do it with a soft pull. So it is a pre-qual on here. So it's very good. So if you want to reach out to PenFed and see if you qualify, their loans go from $600 to $50,000. All right. So it's easy to even join them. So you have to join in where Wells Fargo, anybody can join. Just come on in. You know. But again, granted, Wells Fargo pulls FICO 9. But again, that DTI may be something that disqualifies you for that loan. Okay. So that's the reason I'm talking about these other loans. So in case you can't get any help from Wells Fargo, you know that you still have options, okay? Still on the FICO 9, the low-hanging fruit. Now, if you have any other questions about business credit, personal credit funding, how to remove some negative items off the personal credit, click the link in the description and schedule a one-on-one consultation. Thank you.